Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. This is going to be a video lecture today because I have had, despite being vaccinated, COVID breakthrough infection. And while, according to the CDC, I am cleared to return to teaching, I am having some ongoing sinus issues. So I figured better to err on the side of caution, and until I'm symptom free, we'll do a couple video lectures to get us started this semester. The predominant mode of delivery for this class will be face-to-face lectures, so you'll get used to seeing me, although maybe more with a mask on my face than not. But today we're going to do a video lecture. It's going to be broken up into 3 different videos, 3 different parts that you should watch. So make sure to click on all 3 of those parts. So this first part here, we're going to spend a little bit of time going through the class requirements syllabus, but let's go ahead and continue on here. All right, so first off, welcome to 1801. This is Game Programming Foundations 1, and what we're going to be doing in here is programming games. We're going to get started. Now, if you haven't programmed before, if that's not something you've done previously, then don't worry. I'm not going to assume that you're already a programmer or some sort of uber hacker. We're going to start at the beginning. We're going to work our way through that. If you have programmed before, that's great, but it might be in a different language. We might cover some topics that you haven't seen before in here. So still try to keep up and pay attention and keep an open mind about things. So first off, here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to go over the syllabus. Since none of you had me for classes before, in theory, maybe there's some repeat students here, but we're going to go over the syllabus and the course expectations. I'm going to discuss the how, since a lot of you are freshmen, how you can make sure you're going to be successful in this course and successful in the degree. And then we're going to start and dig in and discuss programming a little bit. In other words, this class is about computer programming with a specific sub-goal of writing programs to act as games. So we're going to dig in and talk about how the computer works and demystify that a little bit. And it's kind of like if you're going to be a really good race car driver, it helps to understand about how an engine works. And so we're going to spend a little bit of time on that today in next class as well. Next class may be delivered via video or maybe in person. Keep an eye on your email and on the course announcement stuff on the course page, and I'll let you know. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the syllabus here. So the syllabus, hold on a second, and I'll bring that up so we can look at that together. Let me switch the screen over here. Okay, so here's the syllabus. So to start with, this is, as I said, ETGG1801, Game Programming Foundations 1. Your section is 51, which means Monday and Wednesday, 5 to 7:15 at 255 Advanced Technology Center. Now, if you're not familiar where that is, go to the ATC building. It's in kind of the gaming commons area. So if you walk across that little catwalk that goes up on the 2nd floor above the pendulum, and then there's the gaming commons area that has like the hexagonal blue and gray and white and charcoal carpet hexagons. Keep walking, and ATC 255 is all the way across the gaming commons. So if you walk across that catwalk and just keep going, you'll run right into it. All right, my name is Paul Yost. You can refer to me as Paul. We can keep things informal. If you have questions, you can refer to me in a very informal way. If you have a question, raise your hand and say, hey, Paul, I'm having trouble with this. We can keep things informal like that. My office is in 307 ATC building, same building, but over in the other part up on the 3rd floor. And if you walk around, get off the elevator, turn left again, go through those doors. My office is right around the back there. And it'll be labeled, and it has the number 307 on it. My office hours are Tuesday and Thursday, 1:30 to 2, and then Monday through Thursday, 4:15 to 5. So in other words, right before our class starts, I have office hours. That's a good time to get a hold of me, or any of those other times. Also, if you're struggling with anything and need to set up an appointment outside of those office hours, or have a question that you have, send me an email. pyost@shawnee.edu is probably the best way to get a hold of me for university-related issues. Also, note that I'm available for face-to-face meetings during those times in my office. But if you want to set up an appointment for a Zoom meeting, or you want to set up an appointment to meet with me outside of those times, I'm available evenings, weekends, whenever, as long as I have notice and as long as we schedule something. So if you need me to come down on a Friday or a Saturday and help you with something, my building is only a block or so from the university. So just get a hold of me. We'll set something up. And also, when you come to office hours, make sure to bring a face mask, at least while transmission is still high and the Delta variant stuff is going on. All right, textbooks. There's not a textbook. The course description. Let's read over that briefly here. The course introduces students to the rigorous field of interactive simulation gaming. Notice it says rigorous. We're going to be writing code and figuring things out and doing some problem solving. Sometimes it'll be challenging. Sometimes you'll have to think about things and you'll have to figure out how to solve those things. But we're going to start at ground zero. So don't worry too much about the word rigorous. I'm going to teach you everything that you need to get started in this. So don't worry if you've never written a line of code in your life. That's okay. If you have written code before, maybe you'll have to lose some bad habits and maybe you'll just extend your knowledge base. But I guarantee you're going to learn something this semester. Now, continuing on, students learn about the major components of modern simulation and games from both a design perspective and a technical perspective. Topics covered include fundamentals of simulation and gaming, user interface design, human-computer interaction, input-output paradigms, and an overview of simulation game design process. Lab activities are designed to foster critical thinking and problem-solving skills through the development of an understanding of the development process, as well as interactive programming techniques through the creation of working interactive programs in a high-level programming language. So we're going to be writing code and writing games and figuring out how do we write the code that makes the game do what we want it to do. Now, sometimes that is going to be fun. Sometimes I can guarantee it'll be sometimes frustrating when you have a bug and you can't figure it out. But that's okay. That's why we have classes, so you can learn to do those things. But I can guarantee the more you learn, the more powerful you become, and the more I guess skilled you get at writing the stuff, the more fun it becomes. It's like It's like when Harry Potter goes to school and he has to learn how to cast spells and do things. Sometimes it's frustrating and you cast the spell wrong and it doesn't do what you want it to do and you get frustrated with it. That's going to happen here. And this is very much like being able to do magic. We're going to be able to dream up something, take that out of our head, put it in the computer's going to do that. Now, if we screw that up in our head, how we're thinking about it, or we screw up how we put it into the computer, it's not going to do what we think it's going to do. That's where the critical thinking and the problem-solving skills come in to figure those things out. All right, we'll get more into the material here in just a little bit. But before we do that, attendance. Attendance is, I'm not going to take attendance. You don't get attendance points. It's going to be up to you to make yourself come to class and do the stuff. And if you miss a class, you're going to be responsible for anything that we did. If I do give a pop quiz, you can't really make that up if it's after the time I've already gone over it. So what I would suggest to you, show up to class, do the work. This isn't high school anymore. You don't need a hall pass. Show up to class, do your work. You get points from learning this stuff. There's the grading system. The majority of your grade is homework, programs, projects, and quizzes, with 25% being the midterm exam and 35% being the final exam that is comprehensive. Now, there is one additional rule that I have for my grading system, and that is you have to pass the final exam to get a passing grade for the class. So in other words, if you did all of your homework and you did okay on the midterm, but then you just completely blew off the final exam and didn't show me that you learned what you needed to learn for this class, you'll still get a failing grade for the class. You have to pass the final to pass the class. Now, the good news is if you did all your homework and learned the stuff that we're going to be covering in here, passing the final exam will not be a difficult thing to do. All right. So moving on, there's the grade scale. Notice it says it'll be no worse than that. I'm meaning that I might curve in your favor, but I'll never curve against you. So in other words, if everybody gets 93 to 100, I won't say, well, too many people are getting A's. I'm going to stretch that down and give some of those people worse grades. Everybody will get those grades. But, for example, when I grade things, if the highest grade was like a 95, I might move everything up by 5 points to benefit you. So I might change the grading scale to benefit you. I will never make it worse than this. I will never curve it to hurt you or give you lower grades. All right, a couple important rules. Don't cheat. I really do not like intellectual dishonesty or really any kind of dishonesty. So I'll treat you with respect. I'll help you if you need help. I'll do whatever I can to make you successful in this class. But if you're having problems and need to discuss things with other people, do that. But don't just take somebody else's work and turn it in as your own. So don't cheat in any way. That will be any instance of any kind of academic misconduct will be dealt with severely. So this class is for you to learn. Take advantage of that. If you're struggling, get help. I'll do whatever I can to help you. But just please don't say, oh, I forgot to do this assignment. I'll just turn in Joe's assignment who's in my room, and then I won't have to worry about it. Because at the end of the day, if you're not learning the stuff, then you're going to do poorly. And getting through this class without learning the stuff by cheating, A, you're going to have a difficult time doing that because you have to pass the final, and B, you'll eventually come to the point where the stuff you need to learn and hear will be used in the next class or the next class or the next class. So make sure you're learning the stuff for yourself, and the easiest way to do that is to make sure you're doing your own work and you're understanding that work. Also, don't be disruptive in class, meaning during the lecture period, close down your computer, turn off your monitor, pay attention, don't play games, don't watch YouTube videos. Pay attention. I guarantee that by paying attention, you're going to end up doing better than if you play on your cell phone or do something else during the lectures. And especially if you're disrupting other people, think of it like a movie theater. You don't go in a movie theater and have a conversation and play video games on your phone while the movie's going on because other people have paid to be there to experience that without having you be disruptive. Same thing is true in the classroom. If you are being disruptive or causing distractions, I may ask you to leave. So be polite, be respectful, behave professionally. Okay, programming assignments. I'm not going to spend a lot of time reading all this, but essentially they're going to be assigned on the course page, so on Blackboard, which hopefully everybody knows how to log in and use. You'll submit your code or your answers on Blackboard. There may also be some assignments that you complete that aren't programming assignments. That's okay. Submit those on Blackboard as well. So in other words, don't just email them to me. Submit them on Blackboard unless you talk to me and there's some reason your Blackboard login isn't working or you're having trouble using it. Then talk to me and let's see if we can get it figured out. And if we can't, then maybe you email me the assignment. All right, exams and quizzes. There'll be a midterm. There'll be a final. It'll be announced at least 1 week before it's given. And there will generally in this class, there'll be like a study guide and a period to go over that and ask questions. But in addition to those 2 exams, I may periodically give quizzes. And I may give those without warning. So you might come in and I was like, quiz time, I'll hand you a piece of paper, you fill out the quiz, and then I'll give it back to you the next class, graded. If you missed class and it was an unexcused absence, I can't really let you make up the quizzes after I've given them back to the rest of the class. So make sure to stay on top of that and make sure to come to class. All right, the ADA statement is there. If you have some accommodation need, I don't know, maybe you need the tests printed out with a larger font size because you're visually impaired, or maybe you need to take the test over in Hatcher Hall in the Accessibility Services Center. Just make sure to work with the Office of Accessibility Services. The phone number is on the syllabus here, so you can call and schedule a meeting or talk to them. And make sure to remind me before the midterm or before the final that you want to do that. So I will assume that you will take the tests or work just as everybody else does unless you communicate with me. So make sure to communicate any needs you have with me. I'll work with you. I'll do whatever I can to make sure that those needs are met, but you got to communicate with me and let me know. All right, there's a Title IX statement there. I'll let you read that on your own, but essentially we want to make sure any kind of discrimination or harassment or any other related problems are brought to our attention. And if you see something, say something, let us know. We want to make sure that we set up an environment that is safe and a positive environment for everybody. So if there is some sort of sexual harassment or sexual violence or any other related activity, report it to me. I can report that. Or if you have other concerns, you can contact the Title IX coordinator directly. The phone number is listed there. Or you can visit that URL to report some sort of incident. So the main thing here is we want this to be a positive environment and a environment where people feel safe and feel free to learn and live. So again, if you see something that is concerning to you, let me know. Let some faculty member know. Let Monique Harmon know over in the Title IX office, and then we'll work with you to deal with any issue that comes up like that. Okay, so really that's it for the syllabus. Let's go back to the presentation briefly here. So give me just a second to switch this back. So we got started with that stuff. So one thing quickly here before we move on into some actual material, and that's my teaching philosophy. My teaching philosophy is that the verb phrase to teach doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And you might say, well, why does somebody that at least part of their profession is teaching, why would they say to teach doesn't make a whole lot of sense? And the reason for that is if you think about that verb phrase to teach, that I'm gonna teach something to you, that puts the active part on the teacher. When really, and that's true for a lot of verb phrases, like here's this rubber coaster thing. I can drop that to drop, or I can like hit it, like punch it, and it does something. I could like tap it, I can stretch it. But all of those verbs there, this has no choice in the matter. It's a passive thing, and you're doing it to that. But teaching doesn't work like that. I can try to teach you things, but ultimately, the emphasis needs to be on you and on your end and learning, where to learn is the active part of it. So my job is to be like a guru or your Sherpa that's going to lead you to the top of the mountain of knowledge, or maybe like your kind of wizard professor that's going to teach you how to do some magical stuff. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to put in the work to learn the stuff. And if you are having problems, you are going to have to talk to me and communicate with me and get help from me. And I'll do what I can to make the road to the top of the mountain of enlightenment, or whatever you want to see it, as easy to travel as possible. But you're going to have to do those steps yourself. So think about like climbing a mountain. That I'm going to show you the ways to climb that mountain. And I'm going to try to make it as easy as possible. And that might mean some of you will have to take a little bit different path than everybody else, or maybe you need a little bit of extra help or a little bit of extra encouragement. Maybe sometimes you'll need to stop and take a break, and I'll help you while you take a break. But my job is to make it as easy as possible for you to learn that stuff and get to the top of that mountain. It wouldn't do you any good for me to throw a rope around you and drag, let's say, around your neck and drag you to the top of the mountain and say, look where we are. You wouldn't learn that way. You need to learn on your own, so you need to be the active entity here. Again, if you're having trouble, if you're having difficulty, make sure to let me know so I can help you. Okay, now before we dig into some material here and talk about programming, here, let's back up so we're not on that distractingly. There's one other thing I want to do, and that's I want to dig into this other kind of presentation where, because it is my job to make sure that you learn the stuff as easily as possible and I want you to be successful in this class, I want to spend a little bit of time going over kind of a little presentation for how to be successful in this degree. So give me just a second to switch this over. All right, so here's this other presentation we're going to go through briefly here. And this is, my goal with this is to make sure that you understand a few things about the degree and about this class. But anyway, welcome to to Shawnee State University. Welcome to the gaming degree, and specifically welcome to Game Programming Foundations 1. Now, all of you are in this degree for a reason, and in this class for a reason. But first off, if I introduce you to other people in the department, these are other professors: Jason Witherell, Jim Hudson, myself. I have a little less hair than I did there because I shaved it off, but Travis Lynn, Dwayne Skaggs. Some of them, you might have one of these other people as your advisor. Adam Miller is the department chair. If you have scheduling problems or something, you might need to talk to him. Kim Robbins is our department administrative assistant. Her office is up there where all the other offices are. And if Adam's not available or one of the faculty isn't available, talk to her and she can help you with a lot of things. And then Paul Madden is the dean. Okay, now, most of you are here probably because you want to make video games. You want to program games, or maybe you're on the art side and you want to make artwork for games. So you're at the right place. We're going to teach you those things that you need in order to do that. But you're going to need a few things of your own. Getting back to that idea of passive versus active. So you're going to need passion. And when I say passion, that's not just passion for playing games. That's also passion for writing code and learning things. Sometimes it's going to feel tedious. Sometimes it's going to feel frustrating when you have a bug and you can't figure it out. But at the end of the day, you're going to need to be passionate about doing something that's high quality and something worth doing. Also, you're going to need a willingness to learn actively. That's what I talked about earlier. So you're going to have to put in some effort to figure some stuff out sometimes. In other words, programming is not an activity where you can just say, okay, type in this exact thing and then it will do what you want it to do. You have to know what to type and when to type it. And it's like taking parts of your mind out and putting them into the computer. You're also going to have to be able to maintain that passion. You're going to have to keep working when things get tough or when you are having problems. You're going to have to figure out how to keep working at that. You're going to have to stay focused and dedicated during those periods when things are frustrated. And what I would like you to see is to get into that mode of enjoying the debugging and the programming and the problem solving. To me, that's a really enjoyable thing. And even when things are frustrating, like when you have a horrible bug and you can't figure out what's causing it, and it's like solving a mystery that something in your code is murdering some other thing in the code. How do you figure out the best way to narrow down the suspects and then figure out who's causing the problem? And there's a saying that's kind of funny that says like debugging code is like solving a murder mystery where you get to be the detective, but you're also the killer who caused the problem. And so there can be nothing as frustrating as having a bug that's really hard to find, and nothing as exciting and joyous as when you finally figure it out and find it and go, it makes sense now. But I want you to get into that, enjoying the crafting of code and enjoying the process of programming, not just necessarily the end result of it. And to me, it really is like that. It's like being able to really do magic. I can take some idea out of my head and I can put it in a computer and then it'll run on its own. Part of my brain is now in that computer. Now, if you're successful, then gaming or some other related career is going to be a very successful and rewarding career to be in. But you have to work at it, maintain that passion, and enjoy the process of it. Okay. So what our job is going to be is to help you to learn what you need for a career in gaming. Programming is your path to that career, but there are other possibilities for careers out of this degree as well. For example, really with the 4-year game programming, engineering, technology degree, you could go into anything that a computer science graduate would go into, or a software engineering degree, not necessarily with games, but with anything. Research and development programming. You could go into virtual reality development. You could go into really any kind of programming, web development, whatever you want. Essentially what this degree is, it's essentially like a 4-year computer science degree with a whole lot of specialized focus on really cool 3D graphics and some math needed to do 3D graphics, and the ways to get computers to communicate and ways to program computers to do really cool, powerful things. So it's essentially a computer science degree with some specialization added on for graphics and really cool looking stuff like that. So again, welcome to the Academy. What we're going to do for you is we're going to challenge you. We're going to help you learn. We're going to help you grow. You'll have access to toys like VR systems and game engines and things like that, and tools. We're also going to connect you with like-minded students and like-minded faculty members. We're going to give you those solid computer science foundations. We're going to help you become a well-rounded programmer. You got to be a good programmer to make it through this degree. We're also going to help you, as you go through the degree, develop portfolio pieces, including your senior project. And we'll help with any kind of extracurricular projects you have or learning. So if you're working on something that's not even for a class and you need help with it, or you just want to share what you're working on, stop by my office or Dwayne's office or any of those other faculty members. And we could either help you with those things that aren't necessarily for our classes or point you in the right direction. There's also this house system that we have now. There'll be some house challenges, so you could get hooked up with, and house events to get you hooked up with some of the upperclassmen, and they can help you with those kinds of things as well. There are all kinds of other cool things like game jams and conference attendance and things like that. So just keep your ear open for that. But one thing to keep in mind, getting a degree doesn't guarantee a job. So any programming job, including my company, we give programming tests when we bring people in. We don't say, oh, this person has a degree from MIT, immediately give them the job. We want to say, show me what you can do. So learning the stuff is going to be useful. So things that can help get you a job that will set you apart from other people, doing your own research into programming or the industry or developing your skills, putting an effort both inside and outside of class, creating a really good portfolio. So when you graduate, you can say, look at all the things that I've done and look how great they work and how awesome these algorithms I wrote are that underpin it. Also having the ability to work with a team. In other words, work on a team and be a productive member and somebody that works collaboratively with others is going to be important. Having a professional attitude, meaning approach coding and the way that you approach learning in a very kind of professional manner. In other words, in classes, do the work the way that they're supposed to do, maintain a professional attitude, treat others with respect, also part of working on a team. And then also participation in conferences. We have the Shawnee annual gaming conference. It's always at the end of October, beginning of November every year. There's GDEX in Columbus, global game jams that we do a couple times a year. GDC, East Coast Gaming Conference, ETGG1801. And then there are also gaming clubs locally as well. Also, persistence pays off, and sometimes a little bit of luck. We do have a lot of our graduates that are in the industry working for various companies, so that can be a good leg up getting into the industry, as well as if you apply to a place where one of our graduates is working, they know what our degree is. We're a top 10 nationally ranked degree program with a good reputation, so that can help as well. And also a willingness to live that kind of game developer lifestyle where you work on stuff and program stuff, and that's kind of what you enjoy doing, is going to help. And also a thing that will help you throughout your 4 years here, maybe reduce time spent playing games and spend more time learning how to do the stuff. So we get a lot of people that come in to this degree, and they are mostly they like playing games, but you need to start developing a passion for programming games and programming things in general, and creating your own stuff and enjoying that. And maybe you'll have to reduce some of your time spent playing games. So if you're spending 50 hours a week playing uh, some sort of games, I don't know, GTA, or I don't know what everybody's playing these days. But if you're spending a whole lot of time playing games, Rocket League, whatever, I don't know what people play, then you might need to reduce that time to spend more of the time learning stuff and learning to enjoy that. And one of the things that I like to do is think of that as its own form of competition, like being good at programming and writing that code. Think of that as like its own game. You're developing a skill that is useful for doing something. But unlike just playing games, doing that other stuff can result in the career choice that you want. Okay, so this class, all of you will not make it. That's kind of like, think about it like all of you can make it, all of you will not. It's going to be a little bit of challenge. The degree itself will be more challenging. And historically, for this class, particularly with my sections, less than 25% will get A's, and about 20% to 25% will fail or otherwise not make it through to the end. Now, historically for the degree, about 50% will make it through to receive the degree. So if you look to your left and right, or just you're sitting in a classroom and you look to your left, one of the two of you probably will not make it through the degree. But most of those who make it through the first year end up completing the degree. So in other words, if you can get through this class and you can get through your classes next semester, then you're probably going to make it through. Now, that might sound scary, but it's really not. It shouldn't be, because everybody that's in here, everybody that's signed up for this, can make it through this class. Now, everyone can thrive in this class and degree, but you have to try and you have to take responsibility for that success yourself. So again, my teaching philosophy: to teach doesn't make sense. You need to be active in that. So my job is to be your guide, make learning as easy as possible, to push you to be a great programmer, push you to be a great developer, and to help you if you're struggling. But again, you have to ask. And so that's my job. So my job is to be like your wizard professor at Hogwarts, to teach you the spells and the skills and make sure that to help you if you need it. Your job is to do the work, participate in class. Don't just sit there and be passive, especially if you don't understand something. Raise your hand, ask a question. Come to my office hours, ask questions. Take up all opportunities for help. There are multiple opportunities. There are office hours that I have and other faculty have. There are SI sessions. For SI is a kind of a student instructor sessions. They can sit down with you and help you if you're struggling with homework or questions. Also, you should probably form study groups and work groups and study for the exams and make sure you do the work. The work we do in here is going to end up being very fun. It might not be super fun initially, but it will be fun by the time we get to writing games and there's stuff blowing up and there are things moving around. You're controlling it on the screen and there's bullets and flying around and shooting things. We're going to get there, but it's going to take a little bit of time for us to get to the point where we're doing that. So in other words, we are going to be writing that code ourselves. We're not going to be using some game maker or something like that and just doing little recipes for that. You're going to be writing all of the code that controls everything. And that's what we need to learn in this class. There will be some math. There'll be a little bit of trigonometry, some algebra kind of calculations. Don't worry too much. We'll cover everything we need to as we get there. All right, things that will help you succeed. Come to class every day. Listen and actively participate. Take notes. Think about what's being presented. In other words, don't just sit there and goof off and then try to figure it out later. Think as it's going through. If you have questions, ask. You can ask those questions via email or in class, after class, before class, office hours. You can call me. You can send me a text message. You can email me. Don't be embarrassed to seek help. Again, Don't be one of those people that doesn't make it through the class. So come to me, go to the SI, seek out tutoring, whatever, other students. Don't let anyone do your work for you. So in other words, if you don't have the assignment done, you don't understand it, don't just turn in somebody else's code. What I would suggest doing is coming to office hours. That's why we're here. We're here to help you. Again, I'm your master class wizard slash Gandalf slash Sherpa slash professor, and I want you to be successful. I don't want people to fail this class. I want everybody to make it through, but it's going to take some effort for you to do that. Always start your assignments and get them done. Always read what the assignment is asking and make sure you've done the stuff that it asks. And there are always chances to go above and beyond. So in other words, don't necessarily always just do the minimal effort. So if there's a program that says write a game that does X, Y, and Z, then do that. But then feel free to play with that on your own and add things and embellish it and make it even cooler than it's supposed to be. Ultimately, at the end of the day, programming, you get to be a better programmer by writing code and playing with things and trying stuff and experimenting with it. And it's like anything else. Like, how do you get to be a good guitar player? Well, by playing guitar and practicing things and trying different songs that you've never played before, watching other guitar players and how their technique works. Same thing with programming. How do you get to be a good programmer? By writing code and trying things and writing programs in a way that you have never done before and experimenting and trying things and looking at code that other people have written. All right. Have fun with the assignments. Explore and play on your own, even if there's not an assignment. Start playing around with writing code. Recreational coding is a whole lot of fun to try to do things and write things and experiment. Even if it's something simple, that can be very enjoyable and you can learn from that. It can keep your skills sharp or add tools to your toolbox. Okay, so again, welcome to SSU. This is kind of what the Gaming Commons looks like. This is the room we're going to be in over here. And enjoy the journey. Have fun. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email or otherwise let me know. And as I said, even though this class today is via video lecture, predominantly throughout the semester, we're going to have our lectures be in person, face-to-face. As soon as I'm symptom-free, we will have face-to-face lectures, and we're going to have lab time where I'm in there as well, and you write code, and we're going to have some quizzes, and you're going to work on some stuff. But just be prepared for that. Now, don't end here. There are some other things that I want you to look at. So we're not quite done yet. So watch part B, watch part C. With those other two videos, this is just part A. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, we're going to dig into some material. We're going to talk about how computers and programming work. So in other words, we're going to be writing code for computers. It helps us to understand how the computer works. And if you haven't seen this before or done this before, this is going to be a really useful lecture, I think, for the rest of the day. So go ahead and watch part B and part C, and then keep an eye out on your email for whether Wednesday's class, the next class session, will be online videos like this, or whether that will be in person and face-to-face. If you don't get an email from me, assume that it's face-to-face and come to class. If you do, I'll give you an update on the situation. But again, we're probably going to be meeting face-to-face from here on out. Okay, so watch these other two videos, and after that, that will be it. Stay safe. If you're not vaccinated, get vaccinated. It's not a big deal, but it could save your life and at least make you less sick, or it could save the lives of other people that you might spread that disease to. But be vaccinated, stay safe, wear a mask, and make sure to watch the other two parts of the lecture video today. And that's it for now. Watch those other two, and then I'll see you guys next time, either in person or in the next video, hopefully in person. Bye.